Did you know Itty Bitty Railway was originally going to have interior trains? Or did you even know that the OG office tower was going to be an extra story too? Or that trees were originally 2D decals? And most interestingly of all, did you know that many songs from Itty Bitty Railway's soundtrack have unseen lyrical versions? I know, that bad, right? Come on, watch the video. Using science from the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine, I have successfully blended a video that is as perfectly educational and nostalgic as it is entertaining. Let's start. Itty Bitty Railway, from the beginning of development to where we are now, is over 6 years old! The game itself was first mentioned, directly, on the 15th of April 2019 on Knacker's Twitter. This is where the trailer was released. It had a planned release date of summer 2019, however this was obviously pushed back, which we'll come to later. The first thing to drop was a teaser trailer, which I'll show you all in a minute. Development started in, assumingly, January 2019, and the game didn't release to over a year later, on the 15th of April 2020. With games this old, always comes a rich and fascinating history. Let's go have a look. Knacker's first game was certainly not Itty Bitty Railway, as most of you know, and it wasn't Itty Bitty Airport either. It wasn't even the original Itty Bitty City. According to this timeline Knacker released, he had plenty of experience elsewhere, before the Itty Bitty series. However, the series itself really allowed him to refine his craft, his brand, and his coding abilities especially. It's one thing to lead a community, and another to build one from the ground up, which Knacker did both. Since the release of his two mainline games, Knacker had learned a lot about development. I don't want to get off topic, so I'll keep this short. The real reason the original Itty Bitty City closed down is because of its terribly written code, meaning it couldn't be fixed. Knacker did not want that to happen again. He'd learned how to make his games better, from knowing what the player wants, more customizability for example, to removing stuff he spent time and effort on, all for the importance of a better game. Enough of the glaze though, right? On Sunday the 27th of January, we can assume work started on the game based on this Twitter post made by Knacker. What else would it be after? Work was relatively fast for a Roblox game, with a trailer being uploaded to Knacker's Twitter page on Monday the 15th of April, which sounds quite long when you say it's 78 days. Play it for you now. I must warn you, it's a very different game to the final result. Many more photos from this era can also be seen, as they have been uploaded onto both Knacker's Twitter and the Roblox dev forums, which I'll show you now. As you can see, so much has changed, look! Just the basic looks of the buildings is completely different to release. The buildings look so different, the bridges look so different, the water looks different, the houses have porches! The two most important changes in my opinion is the lack of interior trains in the final game, and the trees! Look at them! They're literally made the same way as Minecraft flowers. I think they actually look better than the ones we got, but feel free to disagree. This image here is the most important in this era. Single-handedly, look, just look at it. Look at everything, from the brown station roof to the interior of the trains. Knacker said this about the trains in the thread below the trailer if you're interested. As you notice, the overground looking trains, which I believe are Class 378 Capital Star units, they actually aren't full trains, just about 6 units hooked up to each other to make them look like that. Knacker did say this is a placeholder, but why delete them? We'll get to that later. The most important thing from this era is the first appearance of Seniac. But it's comforting to know that he's there from the start. Seniac aside, we also see Nako post this image in this era about the class 321. It looks odd to say. It's not bad, because I know I couldn't make something as good, but it looks like a pug. The other trains just look so much better, so I can see why it got deleted, but why not remake it? The most important thing I'm going to discuss that also appeared earlier and in later photos is the trees. The ones on the left look like 3D models, like the ones used in the final game with more detail. However, the ones on the right appear to be using the billboard system. The billboard system means that the decals follow you wherever you walk, like in old 90s games. I cannot tell if it's that, or the 3D models used on the left, or even the Minecraft flower system, which I always showed you earlier. Here we have a train Nako made himself. The only Nako made that's completely fictional is the NSR 417, an achievement train. This is the light it up one, the one that looks really cool. Back to the development train. I just love its orange livery, and it's perfect for anything from an Australian suburban rail network to an SCR Airlink recreation. This really shouldn't have been taken out because it should look so good. But I know why, and I'll explain it shortly. Here's some footage on Nako's Twitter from the 18th of May. The early GUI and an electric train. Well, that plays. Might I ask you to like the video and subscribe to the channel? I'm just a simple man making very complicated videos. I'm not here to beg to you or to somehow guilt trip you. Just consider it, please. Back to the video. This is where Nako started producing the tycoon aspect of the game proper, with the synchronization of trains between the clients to prevent that. Thanks, Nako. Now back to the proper fun stuff. Here's another unit Nako made, which appears to be a class 745 or 755 Stansted Express flirt unit. It actually looks really good. Its livery isn't the best, but I'm quite disappointed it never made it to the final version. It would be so useful for anyone's railway, because right now, UK-wise, we only really have express trains and suburban trains. We need something more regional. We can also see the class 390 Pendolino alongside it, and additionally a huge array of trees in the background. Speaking of trains which did make it into the final version, is the first American train, the Nako Track one, from July 2019. It's identical to one in game, however the station roof, again, different, using blocks I've never seen before and I'll never see again. Why get rid of it? It looks fine! The last thing I will show you in Chapter 1 is this video, showing the early foundations for the drivetrain's game path. It has a third and first person mode, just like the current one, and he's using the Nako cargo train, found in the final version of course. Why they kept that hideous train in, but not the 755 or custom orange one? I have a theory. During the original research for this video in 2023, and yes, it did take me about 3 years to upload this video, I asked Nako some questions, and he said this. This is probably the reason most of the other buildings got removed or changed. Thanks for your help, Nako. And I'm sorry it took 3 years to make. Nako was forced to take a break. He was visiting RDC in August, so with jet lag included, he wouldn't have been able to develop for quite a few days. Not to mention, he was suffering from burnout. Imagine developing a singular game from January to July, while also having a life and studies and exams outside of it. This here was also the first out of many times poor Nako would be death swarmed, referring to Itty Bitty Railway especially. Nako wanted the best, and this certainly wasn't it, but at least he didn't feel that way. Nako's game had been delayed, but he did carry on working, and just look at this Aztec pyramid he made. The texture of every single one of these blocks has been changed. And look at the palm trees! Why? And even the odd rock looking things by the water. All removed, all never made it to the final version. A few days after the temple was posted, a dev update got released. The most crucial thing about this video is the fine print at the bottom. Look out for it! Look out for it! Did you see it? One of my favourite things Nako did, especially among those which never made it to the final game, is when he asked for suggestions to a loading screen. There were nearly 300 replies on that tweet, yet I only found about 5 good enough to be included. The rest were, for lack of better words, just stupid. The post will be in the description if you want to check it out for yourself at the end of the video, but it's genuinely concerning how few made grammatical sense. You're one of my favourites, not that it was much of a competition. Speaking of the fans, Nako has definitely taken their suggestions and feedback on board. As seen in this post from late October, I did warn you to pay attention to the buildings because they are odd. I wish they had kept more textures of blocks in for custom buildings, but I don't think that's a custom building. Maybe a custom backrooms portal? Some other things, the trees are still not the ones in the game, and both the water and GUI are different colours. Yep. When does it turn into the game we poured hours into? And now, the resurgence. Here we have Link Rail, the second worst operator in the game, and 2 trains for it. There is something really cool, however. The buildings on the right, which we're assuming you removed, have the same colour palette as the trains. Bet you didn't notice that. Another cool thing is the bushes. These were never added. Soon after, a better operator got dropped. While I do feel salty towards Nako for his false promises, only 3 British-themed North-South Railway trains, one of which was a Game Pass train, and 2 of which were basically the same train anyway. He did do it for us. Even if he did never turn his head up and truly look forward, he still did add 3, which is of course better than none. Around December, Nako posted a form asking for testers for the game. Almost 350 people applied, and I assume some of them were contacted. If you were contacted, please share your experiences in the comments below. This is great and all, but what does this mean for the game, you ask? Because I don't know if you were or not. How am I going to get footage? Well, this photo alone, the banner on top of the applications, tells us loads about the game, and how it was during the start of the testing phase in December. You can definitely tell those bridges are placeholders. Just look at them. This is also the last appearance of that hideous Soon train. You will be missed. Back to the operator reveals. This video has gone on for far longer than your attention spans can handle, so let's quickfire. Make sure to use your eyes here. Here's the Nako operator reveal. The only 2 differences now are the trees in the station room. I really wish Nako had kept the square one in along the circular one. It looks amazing. The best operator, City Express, was the last to be revealed. When Nako said he'd around the world, he meant 4 trains from England, 1 train from France, and 1 train from Italy. Last but not least for 2019, here's Nako Gaming, and as you can see in the background, he's testing our game. And here's the build itself. Fun fact, these tweets were posted at 3:12 and 3:13 AM respectively. Now the last trailer I have to show you, the final Itty Bitty Railway development update. Let's see. After this, there is a few more images before release. Many of the now scrapped items and features last appeared in this video. And as you can see, Nako had really prepared for them. Look. Why Nako removed and changed these textures? Was it ready for a simpler style? Who knows? Only Nako. Let's see the start of the game patterns now. Between January and April 2020, most of these features mentioned which didn't make it to the final game were removed. London looks amazing. However, this was officially the last appearance of the Minecraft flower trees. Farewell, you will not be missed. Although I personally did like them a lot. Before I go, here's a video of Nako trialing the mini mode Game Pass, which would eventually release a few years later. And this video is from the 10th of April. Wow. Interestingly, he finally figured it out. Less than 2 days later, the game released to the public. The thunderous applause from everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I really do hope you enjoyed this documentary. Please do like and subscribe, because part 2 has already got its script written and is in the works. What happened after? What updates? Where did Neka go? What about the other games? Is he coming back? I thoroughly believe I have all the answers, so please do stay tuned for more. Thank you, and goodbye.